By divine decree, judgment shall fall after the mutant is neutralized. As the chosen voice of the Eternals, her proclamation echoed with sacred finality, silencing all dissent. United in temporary accord with the Watchers of Earth, they vowed cooperation only until the pale-haired anomaly was undone. With Icarus cast down and his celestial core consumed, Alex's essence surged with ascending force, fusing ever deeper into the forbidden template. Tirelessly, he honed his gifts, placing special faith in the gateway of Passagean ancient arcane cube once tethered to demonic pacts, now answered solely to his boundless will. Hidden within a coastal sanctum, he conjured portal after portal, his soul etching mastery across the weave of space itself. The voice of the unseen realm whispered endlessly in his ear. Energy points +1. Six Eyes experience +1. Energy absorption experience +1. Portal experience +1. Again and again it echoed, as if unseen spirits marked his every breath. The other gifts he wielded had matured, tempered by time and battle, yet this fledgling portal art drank in knowledge like a vessel, long awaiting its filling. In but a heartbeat of cosmic reckoning, the final echo came portal experience +1, and then, revelation, congratulations, your skill portal has leveled up. A new inscription was burned into the scroll of his being, portal level 2, 1/300th. Consumes magic power to open a portal to any place you have previously visited. Energy can be used as a substitute for magic. And then came the flood. Wisdom unmeasured surged through his consciousness, refining his mastery until the need for sacred tools fell away like broken chains. The Ringance Vita was cast into his pocket space, no longer his anchor. Freedom surged through his limbs. With a mere motion, space split open before him faster, clearer, no longer tethered by ritual. Satisfaction stirred within him not of pride. As Alex drew in the currents of pure energy, the Six Eyes remained ever vigilant, spinning with quiet divinity, unraveling the flow of existence itself. Though the progress came slower than his absorption, the power nestled within the gaze of the Six Eyes crept toward transformation. Poise. Beyond all prior enhancements, the true awakening came with the elevation of the Six Eyesit's gaze, now so refined that not a single thread of energy escaped unnoticed. Every technique invoked, every pulse of power summoned, was executed with sacred precision, unmarred by waste. And with this divine vision sharpened, Alex beheld more than mere combat flows. He saw the hidden dance of body heat, the whisper of wind's current, the breath of solar radiance, and the woven lattice of a global sanctum and arcane veil encircling the earth, anchored by sanctuaries in the shadows of New York and London. It was no ordinary ward, but a celestial barrier, shielding the mortal realm from the hungry eyes of beings that lurk between dimensions. As his gaze returned to the arcane interface suspended before him, the numbers revealed a nearing threshold. Template fusion rate, 78%. So close to the long-sought revelation. 2 more steps, and the infinite void would rise. Within that domain he's soon-to-be sanctified space hall, things would be drawn into a boundless stillness, where the very notion of perception devours itself. Minds dragged into the abyss would endure a cruel miracle, paralyzed in revelation, overwhelmed by meaning. Yet Alex knew this was but the original shape of the void. As his mastery grew, yet Tony remained unmistakably himself. Even under the watchful eye of the Supreme One, his nature resisted refinement. Upon seeing Alex, he exclaimed with theatrical exasperation, "By the heavens, when I reached my seaside sanctuary, all I found was a boundless ocean where once the coastline stood. The earth itself has changed, Alex. What in creation happened?" Unmoved, Alex replied with chilling detachment, "Perhaps a celestial stone simply chose your villa as its altar." The words caught in Tony's throat, a familiar echo of Alex's merciless clarity. But it was merely a sanctuary of gold and glass, and Tony's heart was not tethered to it. He turned toward the hidden chamber beneath, declaring, "Alex, I must not be disturbed. A revelation awaits me below. The union of sorcery and science, it is divine." Yet as he descended into his sanctuary of invention, gravity itself betrayed him. Pulled back by unseen force, Tony met Alex's eyes cold, inexorable. "Have you forgotten?" Alex murmured, voice like the rustle of prophecy. "There is truth still hidden from you. Do you not seek to know what truly ended your parents' lives?" And when the veil was lifted, when Alex spoke of shadowed hands and the Winter Soldier's silent judgment, Tony stood alone, the villa behind him, abandoned to the tide. He would never share his life with another man, and with that truth confessed to the one known as Tawny alongside the payment rendered for connecting him with the Sorcerer Supreme, Alex demanded recompense, the shares once held by Obadiah. Thus, he ascended, second only to Tony in dominion over Stark Industries, newly crowned among the realm's billionaires. Within a secluded villa he had claimed earlier, he reclined in serene triumph, surrounded by actresses of fleeting fame, letting their hands soothe him while he idly reached for the immense screen adorning the chamber wall, curious what offerings this marvel-shaped reality held. But the illusion of peace was soon fractured. A broadcast seized his attention. A familiar figure appeared to Eddie, a voice once minor, now trembling in the heart of chaos. The banquet he reported from had dissolved into pandemonium, haunted by shrieks and disarray, as a lone figure bearing a strange scepter-wrought devastation. Disheveled yet defiant, the reporter faced the camera, his voice urgent. A mysterious intruder has attacked. Many innocents have been neutralized. Recognizing the echo of a scene once viewed in fiction, and the specter of a long-haired man in a suit whose staff shimmered with unnatural power, Alex dismissed the woman beside him with a flicker of will. His garments flew to him through manipulated gravity. He dressed with indifference to protest, moving toward fate. The time had come. The delivery was near. Above, meteors blazed across the firmament, trailing radiance and vanishing into the unknown heralds of others, not of this world, drawn to the crucible now forming. Chapter 57. Symbiotes. Once dismissed and nearly forgotten, Eddie Brock had lingered at the edge of obscurity until fate granted him a glimpse into something no lens should have captured. From chaotic clashes between mutants to the fall of armored giants, the subjugation of titans, and even the silent witness of cities brought to their knees by a single white-haired force, Eddie had seen it all, recorded it all. Whether guided by luck or something darker, he became the herald of the one they now whispered about in fear and awe. His name rose in tandem with the storm he chronicled, each broadcast a new scripture of power unfolding across the earth. At a lavish banquet beneath golden lights and hollow laughter, Eddie spotted something again, something that shouldn't be. A silhouette drenched in violence moved through the crowd, leaving only silence in its wake. Eyes wide with recognition, Eddie summoned his crew and opened a live feed, knowing instinctively this too would echo across the world. But as the stream's numbers soared, a flicker of dread passed through his cameraman's eyes. Eddie turned too late. Agony bloomed in his chest as a cruel staff drove through flesh and bone, blood cascading like an omen. He staggered, vision darkening, air clawing from ruined lungs. And in that final moment before collapse, he saw the figure dispatch the cameraman with cold precision. The man's robes unraveled like living shadows, weaving themselves into an otherworldly armor. Cloaked in terror and silence, he stepped beyond the banquet hall into a world that would soon remember his shape. Just before darkness swallowed his senses, Eddie glimpsed a writhing black essence, slithering toward him, then merging with his very soul. At that same moment, amidst the cries of finely dressed mortals, the figure cloaked in deception moved with regal ease toward the exit. As the illusion melted away, sacred armor emerged, his true form unveiled. Beholding the chaos he had orchestrated, he relished the terror carved into the hearts of the Earthborn. With divine arrogance, he struck the ground with his staff, birthing phantasms that enclosed the trembling masses. His voice thundered with celestial command, "Kneel before me!" And lo, the cries ceased. Silence reigned. The air itself bowed to his will. Yet still they hesitated, frozen in mortal doubt. His ire flared again, voice laced with judgment. "I said kneel!" Slowly, fear overcame pride. They bent the knee. As he moved among them, anointed by their submission, his words poured forth like prophecy. "Isn't it clear? This is your purpose. You were forged for obedience." The soul of Loki's lips curled into a disdainful smirk as he proclaimed, "There are no men like me." Yet the elder, eyes unwavering, responded with quiet certainty, "I have seen your kind before." Offended by such defiance, Loki's rage flared. Raising his staff, he addressed the gathering mortals with haughty disdain. "Behold this frail relic, your shining example." Light surged at the staff's crown, and a searing beam surged forth, its purpose unmistakable. But before it could strike, a figure clad in armor bearing the celestial star interceded, his shield raised high. The beam collided with unyielding metal vibranium and rebounded with divine judgment, casting Loki to the earth. The sentinel spoke, voice calm and resolute. "I've heard that boast before from one who fell as all tyrants do." Loki, recognizing his adversary, sneered with cold irony. "A relic? Lost in time." Then from above, a roar of engines and a hail of gunfire. A warrior in black commanded, "Lay down your weapon and surrender." Loki answered not with submission, but with wraith and other beam narrowly missing the airborne vessel. Without pause, the star-bearing warrior surged forward, striking with righteous force. Against the frostborn giant whose strength rivaled ancient titans, the valiant soldier was hopelessly outmatched. The sacred shield was torn from his grasp, leaving him at the mercy of an unrelenting force. Driven by vengeance after prior humiliation, the dark sorcerer abandoned all pretense of sport, seizing a brutal opening. With a merciless stroke of his staff, he shattered the warrior's legs and pressed the weapon to his brow, his voice venomous as prophecy. "I told you, you are a relic of the past." every fiber of the soldiers being strained against the inevitable, as the staff's tip carved a searing path toward his mind. In that abyssal moment, a torrent of unknown power surged within him, hurling the staff aside and casting the sorcerer to the ground. A strange, white essence cloaked his form, power blooming in his veins like a second birth. As it claimed him fully, a voice, both ancient and familiar, spoke within his spirit. "Hello, Steve. My name is Serum." Glancing at the immaculate pale suit now adorning him, questions formed, yet the presence was already aware, answering with calm resolve. "First, we end this battle. Then we speak, do we not? A Clintar. How quaint your faith in this writhing parasite. You labor under delusion if you believe it shall deliver you from my judgment. Behold!" I cast down my staff, sundering its frail mind and forging its silver flesh as my vestment. See how it exalts my form beyond the cursed blood of Jotunheim. Gaze upon the blade, my arm has become anointed in frozen Malician, the staff in my grasp, scepter of your undoing. Step forth, shield bearer, for the second covenant is sealed. Let your borrowed strength clash with mine, though even now you must feel the truth coiling within your bones. Your mortal vessel, no matter how adorned by alien communion, is but pale offering against divinity unbound. And yet, with this unholy union, you dare to raise your hand once more. So come, show me if your will can withstand a god made monstrous. Captain America could no longer withstand the relentless might of this new incarnation of the trickster, his strength faltering as defeat loomed like a final curtain. And then an eruption. From the farthest edge of the ruined chamber, a wall burst open, giving way to a figure cloaked in living shadow, streaking toward the deceiver with feral intent. This was no mere host clinging to alien power. The being was wholly consumed by its dark symbiote, every inch of its form a writhing, viscous tide of sentient abyss, granting it unfettered dominion over its own monstrous strength. It was a revenant, a man who had once stood at death's threshold when the trickster's cruel spear had torn through his heart. In this fractured reflection of the cosmos, fate bound him still to the void-born creature. And upon beholding the one who had sought his end, he released a guttural, inhuman cry that shattered the air. "You wretch, your end comes by my hand." What followed was chaos incarnate. 3 titans, their forms enhanced and twisted by the alien curse, clashed with the fury of ancient beasts. Blows thundered, earth splintered, and the very sky seemed to recoil from their... By the grace of dominion, Captain America turned his gaze to Black Widow, now cloaked in the crimson shimmer of a living symbiote, and asked with quiet awe, "How did you come to bear this form?" Her voice was calm, resolute, almost reverent. "As you did." Without hesitation, she surged forward once more to strike at the god of mischief. Surrounded and pressed by 3 vessels of the void-born parasite, Loki's confidence unraveled. Even the writhing darkness that had once embraced him was torn away. Staggering, he lifted his hands in surrender, a wicked grin playing across his lips. "Very well. I yield." The warriors halted, save for Venom, whose rage burned still only to be restrained by the hands of the faithful. Yet before the rite of binding could begin, a sound pierced the tension, deliberate, echoing footsteps from the abyss behind them. From the shadows emerged, a figure with snow-white hair and eyes of radiant azure, his countenance both serene and terrifying, as if eternity smiled through him. With a voice that resonated like prophecy, he spoke, "Children of war, would you grant me the staff?" Silence consumed the battleground, as every soul present recognized the one who now stood among them, the herald of the infinite void. Why had he descended into this realm? By the favor of the unseen, Captain America regarded the scarlet and gold-clad Black Widow with a gaze steeped in wary wonder. "By what design have you come to wear such a mantle?" he asked, his voice hushed as if fearing the answer might summon darker forces. "In the same manner as you," she murmured, before launching herself upon the trickster whose tongue births calamity. Beneath the relentless onslaught of 3 who bore the alien stain, Loki's defiance waned. At last, the dark communion was torn from him by force unseen. Raising his hands in a mockery of penitence, he offered a smile thin as a blade. "So be it, I yield," he declared, the shadows flickering behind his eyes. Though Captain America and Black Widow halted their advance, the ravenous spirit within Venom clamored for further conquest, restrained only by the grip of the other 2. Yet before the bonds could be wrought upon the fallen, a hush as profound as... The overwhelming force annihilated the wretched form, scattering bone and flesh to formless dust as it vanished beyond shattered walls into the void. Without a word, Alex advanced, his gaze fixed upon the fallen relic, the Mind Scepter, vessel of forbidden power. It lay silent, yet alive with ancient intent. He reached out, fingers closing around its shaft, and exerted his will. Shadows of black and crimson lightning danced within his grasp, but the ancient weapon resisted, untouched by the tempest in his palm. A shadow flickered in his expression. From the abyss of his hand, a black hole the size of a mortal's thumb collided with the singularity of seething darkness and blood-red light, birthing a mass of impossible purple, neither matter nor void. The scepter trembled, then was no more, disintegrated by a force that devoured space itself, leaving only a gem of blinding gold upon his palm. As flesh met the Mind Stone, torrents of pure, primeval energy surged into his vessel, and phantoms of countless voices clamored to seize his thoughts. Yet one by one, they were cast down by the eternal bulwark of his spirit. Not even the stones of the infinite could pierce his soul's sanctuary. In silent triumph, Alex's gaze gleamed with cold finality. As he had foreseen, this relic's dominion was powerless before him. It's in but a fleeting instant, he beheld the surgent, unfathomable torrent of energy pouring into his vessel, igniting every hidden chamber of his spirit. He channeled this radiance into the sacred convergence, and at once the fusion ascended. Template fusion rate, 79. So near the threshold, so near the revelation that waited at 80, where dormant miracles would awaken. Yet the Mind Stone's celestial essence proved too vast, too ravenous for his mortal form to anchor. Weariness closed upon him like a vast eclipse, driving him to seal the Mind Stone within the veiled sanctuary of the pocket dimension, where its resonance would not shatter him. Thor, Loki, a monstrous fusion of Hulk and symbiote, a thunder god awakened too soon, the assassin locked in a deadly dance with the beast, and the sorcerer supreme clad in iron. Tomorrow, the heavens would open above New York, and Alex, veiled in enigma and power, would witness the reckoning. What thoughts would the invading legion birth when faced with this congregation of chaos? Yet even now, suspicion brewed. Captain America and his allies felt a tremor in the mind, a shadow on their thoughts as the white-haired figure before them smiled with eyes not of this world. But resistance crumbled under the silent decree of the Mind Stone. Thought twisted, will reshaped. "Sir!" they intoned, bending the knee as one. Even the trickster bowed. Alex's smile deepened, voice like prophecy. "Return to the helicarrier. It is time we offer Fury a revelation." "Yes, sir." In this altered convergence of fates, the ties between the shadowed agency and the armored air had frayed, leaving the latter absent from the gathering storm. The Chosen boarded the skyborne vessel, its engines howling like forgotten spirits, and ascended toward the colossal fortress adrift in the heavens. Within that ascent, Alex beheld the alien entities clinging to mortal hosts, one of mischief entwined with riot, the soldier of ages with serum, and the veiled assassin bound to scream. By threads unseen, these void-born creatures had descended in unison, as if summoned by an unspoken decree. With measured intent, Alex harvested fragments of each, wielding the gleaming Mind Stone as a sovereign scepter, erasing their primal wills and weaving their remnants into a singular, formless being. This creation, stripped of purpose yet brimming with potential, became neither beast nor ally, but a vessel of mutable flesh, obeying the bearer's will. It cloaked his form, devouring fabric and reshaping itself into vestments worthy of dominion. He barked the command, "Fire! Strike the white-haired aberration," but none obeyed. Instead, their weapons turned against him, cold and unwavering. A chill gripped his spine. His gaze shifted to the figure cloaked in silver blue light, and he hissed, "You've twisted their minds! You've harnessed that scepter's will more completely than even the trickster ever could." He analyzed, calculated, but each conclusion only deepened his dread. The silence from Alex, that unreadable calm, gnawed at him. Fury snarled, "You believe you've triumphed, but you've stirred forces that will not rest. Ruin will find you." But Alex's voice came soft, almost tender. "No need for fear, my steadfast servant. That future won't come to pass, and you will ensure it, won't you?" A pulse of golden light surged forth from the stone set in his hand. Fury's rage ebbed. His breath slowed, and with reverent eyes fixed upon the one who now held dominion over his will, he bowed low and murmured, "Yes, sir." He commanded in a voice edged with desperation, "Fire upon the white-haired aberration." Yet the agents turned, their weapons rising to greet him instead. A cold dread welled in his chest as he met the mutant's gaze. "You have twisted their minds. You have seized the scepter's dominion and wielded it with a mastery that surpasses Loki's own." Even as he discerned each terrible truth, the knowledge brought no solace, only a deeper descent into futility. The white-haired figure remained silent, his eyes glimmering with ancient, unfathomable purpose. Fury's voice cracked with venom as he rasped, "You may savor this hollow triumph, but you have provoked powers beyond imagining. Soon, your reign will be ended in ruin." But the mutant's reply was almost tender, a sacred benediction cloaked in certainty. "Hush now, my faithful servant. That end shall never come to pass. You will stand at my side to see it. So I shall devote the entirety of my being and every fragment of my will to you." Having bent the will of Fury and the gathered sentinels of order, Alex's smile curled with silent satisfaction. If one empire could be twisted into the serpent's nest, then why could it not be reforged in his own image? Thus, a new dominion was born, beneath cold, flickering lights, guided by the subdued fury. The procession carved deeper into the floating citadel, subjugating every soul that crossed their path. At last, they came upon a solitary chamber where one figure remained the vessel of untamed fury, the one called Hulk. Yet it was the mortal within who spoke first, his gaze uneasy upon the newly enthralled fury. "Sir, more time is needed to divine the Tesseract's sanctuary." He fell silent, struck dumb as his gaze locked upon the figure standing just beyond the watchful sentinel, white-haired man, whose presence alone eclipsed every thought. Though the stranger's smile shone with a gentle radiance, it seeped into the marrow of his bones like a spectral frost. Dread coiled within him, for this apparition had haunted his dreams with visions of monstrous, inhuman terror. And now, with a voice as soft as a priest's benediction, the white-haired visitor spoke. "Doctor, forgive my intrusion, but there are garments that yearn for your hands." From the shadows behind him, grotesque shapes slithered into view unnatural forms, writhing like living blasphemies, their malign intent saturating the air. A strangled cry burst from the doctor's lips, frantic and imploring. "Hulk! Hulk! Emerge!" Yet it was too late. The Mind Stone's hidden authority unfurled its dominion, compelling his body to awaken the monster within. The merging commenced, and though the parasitic spawn could never savor the Hulk's boundless fury in full, even a fleeting communion exalted their strength beyond measure. Before long, the white-haired herald had subdued every soul upon the vessel. They now exist as one, a singular entity forged in Alex's will, the order known only as the Alex Shield. With absolute dominion over what was once a fractured agency, and the cunning god of mischief himself, Alex possesses the unchallenged power to halt the looming invasion of this world. Yet, no such mercy stirs within him. The approaching legions of the void shall serve a higher purpose, unwilling vessels upon which he will unveil the boundless terror of infinite void, his crowning revelation. Through this chaos, he shall measure the resilience of those champions, now entwined with living shadows, gauging their worth in the crucible of unending conflict. The dark hours slip away, and the indifferent sun ascends once more, cloaking the realm in its indifferent blaze. Having secured his dominion aboard the skyborne fortress, Alex departs without a word, his gaze fixed upon the storm yet to come. Closing the sacred panel with solemn grace, Alex dismisses the sirens of temptation with a mere flick of his hand. A shimmering veil tears through reality his portal, and he steps through, returning to the throne-like command chamber of the helicarrier. Already bound to his will, the Crimson Agent approaches and speaks with unwavering reverence. The gate stands ready, and the vessel is armed for judgment. The hour of retribution upon the Chitauri draws near. With a silent nod, Alex strides to the center, where his chosen warriors, clad in symbiotic vestments, await the divine command. His 6 eyes glow, scanning their forms, measuring their might. A faint smile calm, deliberate breaks his composure. When the gate opens, descend upon their dominion. Carve through the unholy with no mercy. Yes, sovereign, they declare as one. His gaze lingers on the vessel bearing the essence of riot, now fused with the frozen wrath of a frostborn titan. A storm of strength brews behind Banner's calm. The battlefield shall bear witness to this ascension. Before the veil is torn again, Alex calls forth a voice through the tempest. Amid crackling echoes, he asks with curious calm, "Where do you stand now, Iron Architect?" Closing the system interface with a flick of his fingers, Alex dismissed the alluring illusions around him. With a single motion, space parted, his portal opened, and he stepped through, reappearing aboard the helicarrier in silence. Already tethered to Loki's mind, he was greeted without resistance. Black Widow approached, her voice composed yet edged with anticipation. The portal is stabilized, and the strike vessel is armed. "We await your command to begin the assault on the Chitauri." Alex gave a slight nod, striding into the command chamber where his force assaulted and empowered stood ready. Through his radiant 6 eyes, he scanned them, analyzing their energy and forms. The sight brought a rare smile. "Once the rift opens," he commanded, voice calm and absolute, "you'll breach their mothership. Leave nothing standing." "Understood!" came the synchronized reply. Each symbiote-clad hero poised like a living weapon. His gaze fell last upon Banner, now fused with riot, strengthened by remnants of the Frostborn lineage once flowing through Loki. This new form, this frost giant Hulk, was a mystery even to Alex. The possibilities stirred something deep within him. Before unleashing the final phase, he tapped a direct line to Stark. On the other end, static crackled with urgency. Calmly, Alex asked, "Tony, where exactly are you right now?" Tony's voice crackles through the veil of unstable ether, distant yet striving to pierce the arcane haze. "I stand within the sanctums of Kamar Taj, where the air itself rebels against signal and sense. Wait, let me drift to a clearer locus. Sparks dance like tiny souls lost to the void, then his words gain form, low and eager. I commune here with the Sorcerer Supreme, forging a new exoskeleton woven not by mortal means, but through the currents of sorcery itself. The prototype breathes, it merely awaits the trial of battle. A knowing shadow plays across Alex's lips as he intones. Then Fortune's design is flawless. Even now, the heavens ready their maw against the legions of the Chitauri. Will you stand with us upon this precipice of cosmic reckoning? Tony's reply is a jagged whisper, torn between worlds. What in the abyss? But Alex heeds no hesitation, voice falling like a solemn chant. Return to Stark Tower. There shall the first altar of war be raised. Stark Tower, hold on. Tony tries to grasp the unraveling strands, but the communion breaks. Alex turns. Simultaneously, Alex lifts his hand, a whisper of power swirling around his fingers as a dark portal unfurls before them, permitting the chosen warriors to step through. He follows last, his presence sealing the rift behind. They emerge atop the soaring spires of the tower, where ancient machinery awakens under Selvig's trembling touch, and the Tesseract bursts forth with an ethereal hymn, its azure brilliance tearing open the heavens, birthing a yawning chasm that churns with otherworldly promise. Gazing into this widening scar across the firmament, Alex's lips curve into a frostbitten smile, his voice echoing like a cold benediction. This realm is sanctified by my dominion, and these hollow invaders presume to trespass upon sacred ground? Witness now the revelation of true might. In that same breath, distant sanctuaries stir, instruments quiver under forces uncharted, and far minds tremble as they glimpse through mortal eyes the veils unraveling. Commands ripple forth like silent prayers, summoning kindred spirits to brace against the tempest yet to descend. The X-Men must rise from their slumber, for a trembling whisper threads through the fabric of creation. Far beyond mortal reach, upon a throne wreathed in shadows and starlight, a colossal titan reclines, his breath a silent hymn to oblivion. His gaze, cold and fathomless, pierces the veil of the cosmos and settles upon the fragile sphere called Earth. At his side, a gaunt figure cloaked in reverence bows low, voice lilting like a dark prayer. O mighty one, this is but the genesis of your sanctified dominion.